Thank
That's
you.
all? Anyway,
Welcome all. Welcome all. Welcome all.
yeah,
Um,
whatever. Yes.
welcome to Everything and Nothing once
Yes.
again. Are you finished? Are you gonna just keep saying yes?
No. Continue, please. Go ahead.
No,
You're
I don't
you're
want to now.
you're warm welcoming.
I don't feel like it. Now I'm not in a mood.
Sorry. Whoops. There we
That's
go.
the wonderful thing about Christopher. He pushes buttons.
Literally.
Literally.
All
Pushes them.
right. I do.
Pushes. Till,
Yeah,
till,
well,
till the fire comes out of the fucking head. Push it.
hmm.
Yeah,
Nice t-shirt, by the way.
yeah, thanks.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like
Lips over boobs. Those are the only lips that have been on these things. And look, he has a heart on. No, I'm only kidding.
is
Kidding.
it is that a gift?
That,
That?
this,
Yeah.
this is my decoration.
I know. Maybe it was thought it was a gift. Maybe
A gift. If somebody handed me this, I'd crack them in the fucking head with it. What are you trying to say? I need a heart because I have one. No, no.
Wow.
That's a decoration for Valentine's Day.
I get it. I understand. All
If
right.
you got it, then you wouldn't ask if it was a gift. It's a gift. No, it's a decoration. I get it. I just wanted to know if it was a gift. That's on your end, buddy. I could guarantee you if we actually had people watching, they would understand what I'm saying.
Of course. Of course. How
Mhm.
could we not? So, how was your morning thus far?
Doesn't the resting bitch face explain it? Mhm. Yeah,
That's
no,
your
it was all
smiley
right.
face.
Yeah,
Good.
it was all right. Obviously, I mean, I could have just came on in my pajamas, but no. Like we even have a fucking audience. I don't even know why I bother, but I had to put makeup on, I had to do my hair, I had to get dressed just to do this. So then I could go after we're finished. Yeah, people, that's right. Because I don't want to look like hell. Although I don't know why I give a shit. But then again, after
Because you
this is
care.
done, I go in the bathroom, take off the makeup, dry it off, comb out the hair, take off the jewelry, take off the shirt. No, yeah, literally take off the shirt, put on the
Wow.
pajama, start cooking whatever for today, for tomorrow, the next day, until I plop on the fucking couch again.
I was just tired watching all that. God, what are we cooking today, as you just mentioned?
You know what? When I went shopping yesterday, it was just because I had to go to work. So it wasn't a planned thing. It was just I knew I needed a few essentials. Then when I seen a couple of things that he wants that were on sale, I grabbed them. I grabbed myself a chicken and I always shred it apart and stuff for me, for Lily, whatever, just so we have it. If I want it, he wants it, and Lily. Um, and I grabbed mini eye round steaks, so I'm gonna make them later. And then I bought mini like a pork cutlet, so I'm gonna make them also because I got today, like we have choices. Today, I got tomorrow, I'm gonna make a nice salad. Um, I didn't really get potatoes or anything because it was like not.
Yeah. You just made me think of something. I'll ask you a question. Um, when you were growing up, at your family's dinner table, were there certain staples or things that like had to be at every meal that your father or your mother liked so much that this had to be at every meal? Like, was there one?
Yeah. I mean, we've discussed this on another podcast before, but yeah, my mother had her set cooking ways. My mother wasn't the chef, but she cooked good. But she only stuck to what she liked. And it was the basics, chicken cutlets, meatloaf, pork chops, steak, obviously, but she would make the big, huge,
Fred Flintstone steak.
steak. No, yeah, kind of. They're still big. They're about this big. My mother would make the huge chuck steak with the bone, and I mean, they're literally this big. They're flat though. They're not too thick. And she would do it with she would cut slits in it, slice garlic and stuff the slit, the little slit, and do salt and pepper and fresh parsley. That's it. Oh, and then later on in life, I was like, Ma, when you're making steak, you're supposed to put butter. People put oil, but you're supposed to put butter or margarine, whatever, because it makes a nice juice with the garlic and all that with the fat. That's the actual way. Or you could prepare it on the side and then pour it over the steak afterwards. It just so she liked it like that many years later, though. Like when I started actually
Well, with all
cooking.
those meals, like I'll tell you why I'm actually. I thought of my father when you were talking. When you mentioned salad, right away it just popped into my head. For some reason, well, then I didn't know, but my dad had to have a salad at every meal.
Right.
And I don't do that to this day, though. Marion's always saying, "You need to have salad. You need to have salad." I'm like, "Shut up, give me more potatoes. Don't throw it at me." And see, I grew up. I think we talked about this. I grew up eating iceberg lettuce. That's all
Right.
I knew.
That's what I make now, yeah.
Yeah, which I was happy with. You know, but it was for sandwiches and at the table. My father, he was a little more of a, you know, he prided himself on being more of I guess, a food.
A
What's the
foodie,
word?
right. A
Foodie.
foodie.
When he was saying, you have iceberg for on the dinner table, and I'm like, yeah, Dad. He goes, "Ugh, romaine, romaine, icebergs for sandwiches, you know. And I was like, he criticizing my dinner. Oh, you know. But so I kicked him in the shins and ran away. Um, but and then later in life, I said, yeah, I think I understand what he's saying. Not that I don't mind, an iceberg, good chunk, good wedge, but it was always romaine lettuce with the Roquefort blue cheese.
Mm,
That was his thing. And then eventually I started, because I didn't know what that was as a kid.
right.
To me, it was the Regina vinegar
That's what I
with
use.
the gold can of olive oil, whatever that
Right.
Barrios, yeah,
Filippo
right,
Barrio, yes.
yeah, and that was the dressing.
Right.
Occasionally my mom, God rest her soul, she liked the French dressing,
hmm
which I thought was too sweet. We get the bottle, whatever it
My
was.
mother, my mother actually had that years ago. Once in a while, my mother did her basic, always, plain, nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
Um,
I like that sweet, that French dressing. Thousand Island, Thousand Islands.
Thousand Island was nice.
Little jar. It's weird. Like I can picture, the olive oil can. I can picture the vinegar bottle, the shape of the bottle, you know. But so salad was my dad's big thing.
That's one of the things that he actually likes as far as I guess healthy, vegetable-y, or whatever you want to call it, produce-y, Tommy. He actually likes a salad. Nothing, he's no tomatoes, nothing like that. He likes a cucumber, which took a long time for him to eat. Olives I always put inside the salad, and he likes his croutons or whatever, or his
Right.
bacon, his real bacon bits. And
Okay.
then dressing, he likes creamy Italian or oil and but mostly he goes or the Italian dressing, the Robusto. Um, Sunday night at a quarter to 12. I mean, he's off on Monday. I'm not. But a quarter to 12 at night, he goes, I'm dying for something. I said, what do you want? He goes, I'm dying for a salad. I said, now? He goes, yeah, I don't know why I'm dying. And he likes the raspberry balsamic vinegar.
Oh, okay.
That you don't even need oil. You don't. Just that alone with a little pepper to
Yeah.
balance the sweet with the salt.
Right.
Um, I went, now you want it? And I said, you know what? I'd rather give him that than cake and stuff. But not
Yeah,
that
there
he's
could
on
be
a
worse
diet.
things to
Not
have
that
it.
he's on a diet, but I said, you know what? All right. I said, all right, you want me to make you a quick salad? He goes, will
Yeah.
you? I said, yeah. So I just cut it up. And I was watching him like 12 o'clock at night. You're interested in having salad? I
Yeah.
said, these are the things that you need to be eating.
Right.
He goes, I said, I know, but I'm just trying to tell him as far as health
Yeah.
wise. I said, he did it a couple of years ago and he lost weight without even trying. And on
Mm.
the weekends, he had his bacon, he had his milk, he had his donut. He cheated on the weekend. So it would be nice for him, not for me, for himself to lean more towards that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I let him do what
Well,
he
the body
wants.
was craving it. Body said, you know what? I need some greens. I need something. Yeah, and
Listen,
followed that lead.
I love a salad every day. My problem is, but it's not as bad. And your wife taught me that. I remember, and just recently I started watching videos. I'm not going to get into the scientific part of it, but now they're saying, especially people with blood sugar and all that have to watch, pasta is better after you cook it. It's healthier and better for you to eat after it's in the refrigerator.
Why is that?
It something with the it breaks something down. It breaks the nutrient, something in the pasta, the starch and all that. It gets broken down when it gets cold or it settles.
Hmm.
I can't remember everything they said because they'll give you the reason why, and it lowers the blood sugar by a big percentage. Same thing goes for bread. Put bread in the refrigerator. It's something happens while it's getting cold, and it's better to eat it. You don't have to eat it ice cold, but after it's cooked or after it's baked or after it's whatever, it's better to let it cool down, put it in the fridge and eat it later on. Warm it up. Obviously, you're going to warm it up. It's not going to spike it back up. Or to eat it the next day. And same thing like me and you. I was asking questions. The host was asking questions, and now I'm seeing it all over. Even in foreign countries, an Asian woman was saying the same thing, and she was talking about how it breaks down everything, and it's better for the
That's also
person.
interesting. I have to look into that. That's a insightful point you brought out,
Yes,
Barbie.
and your wife had told me because I said to her, "How is it that I could sit and have the salad that I make?" Because remember when I was by your house and you were eating salad, you were losing weight. It was an afternoon thing. Then your wife started to make a bunch of shit and you would put your own salad together and I had mentioned to her that my mom's salad had everything in it, lettuce, cucumber, tomato, olive, black olive, oil and vinegar, salt and pepper and garlic pat, whatever, and fresh garlic. I says, but I could eat just this salad, a bowl like this with
Yeah, yeah.
a loaf of Italian bread.
Right,
He
yeah.
said, and even through the years as I was dieting, I would have to have a nice chunk of Italian bread and just dip it in the
Yeah,
oil
yeah, yeah.
and then I would enjoy that. Fuck everything else. And
Yeah.
she had mentioned that the vinegar breaks down the sugars in the or whatever
Right. Yes,
in the
yes, yes.
bread, and that's probably why I'm still actually losing the weight.
Yeah,
I forgot exactly how she mentioned it, but I always
yeah.
remember her saying that, and I was like, that makes sense because I always used to feel guilty, even when I was on Weight Watchers. I'd go, it's a lot of points, but I'd go, how did I lose
Oh
weight?
boy.
How did I lose weight?
Somebody just woke up.
Leave him alone. Just leave him alone. He's fine.
He's gonna jump up on the table.
That's fine. So leave him alone. We go through this all the time. Let him be. Let
Yeah,
him do what he wants to
can't you go
do.
back to sleep? You were such a good boy.
He is a good boy.
Yeah. But it's an interesting point that he wants me to pet him. Here, let me hit you with this. Come here. It's a ruler. Um, in Italy, and I never realized this, and we talked about this, that they don't have leftovers in
No,
a traditional, there's no leftovers.
no,
And everything is fresh for the most part. I'm like, well, I guess it's nice if you can do that, but, um, and they don't have big refrigerators. They're
no,
small because they don't store a lot of stuff. They
no.
cook a lot of stuff, but, um, and all right, come here, say hello. Come here. Maybe this will get rid of you. Come here. Come here. Come here. He knows what I'm going to do. Come here. Say hi to Barbie. Say hi to Barbie.
Hi, Tange. Hi,
Hello.
handsome. Hi, baby.
Say
How are
hi.
you?
Saying hi.
Oh, yeah, he just went to, I want that too. I jealous. I jealous. Baby.
Be a good boy. He was a little rowdy
Hi.
this morning. He got a little feisty with Marion.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah, he got a little cranky, and
you having one of those days?
I don't know. This morning, he got what are you looking at?
Hmm, the tree.
Are you done now? The squirrels go up the tree here. So, are you
Yeah.
good? You happy?
That's it, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Say hi to Barbie.
Tange.
There he goes. I'm done now.
He's done. Yeah, he's finished. He got enough.
But yeah, and even some of my Italian friends, the more traditional Italian friends, their parents, and older elderly parent, no leftovers. Everything's gone. They
Mm,
cook, just enough, and I grew up on leftovers.
right, right.
You
We
know,
all did.
I don't mind that, but plus we didn't go also to the supermarket 4 times a week.
Right,
You
right.
know, it's once a week. That, and
But in Italy, it's different too. They
would you
have
like that
this,
though?
what?
Must you? Would you prefer that if you had the time? Just say you could be home all the time. Would you mind going to the supermarket that often and cooking for, or would you still adopt the routine?
I do go to the store often. I go every other fucking day. Even when I do big shopping, it doesn't matter because there's certain things that I little thing, and then I'll buy other. It's annoying. I hate it, but sometimes it's just, and that's the habit. And we both eat differently, me and him. I mean, for the most part, there's a lot of meals we can eat together, but we still both eat differently.
So you'd
And
rather go less to the supermarket?
I'd rather
You
be
could.
the honestly to the way that people live in Italy is to me the best way. I don't care if you're heavy, thin, or whatever. They're eating healthier, they're eating more natural, they're eating what they got on the plate. So if I decide to make just a little, that's it. And honestly, at that point, if you're still fucking hungry, I feel all right, I'll get up, I can make another little batch or make a little something else instead of having things lay over. Because the more that you see and the
Mm,
more that's in your plate, the
mm.
more you're gonna eat. The less that's in a person's plate. And my sister just said, we just had this conversation, and he remembers me telling him because he used to eat two burgers, French fries, onion. And I used to tell him, Tommy, just cut your intake. I know it's hard
And
sometimes,
then you can
especially at the
substitute with
beginning.
fruit or something if you like fruit.
Right. There's other ways of substituting, but my
Right.
point is if that's all you have in front of you, you will be satisfied.
Yeah,
And it is science, it is mind over matter,
it
because the
is.
truth is I remember him going, all right, and him having the one hamburger and a little bit of fry and onion ring. And he never really finished the fries and onion rings. He's good that way. He doesn't sit and devour. He'll eat it and he'll go, I'm good. And he'll save the rest for tomorrow. He'll think about, all right, I can have that with lunch with some wing or a little chicken or
Right,
whatever.
right, right. You plan your meal. Yeah,
Or on his, yeah, he'll go, you know what, you got that. So maybe we'll make a sandwich tomorrow and I'll have that on it. Whatever it is, he thinks that way, which is okay. But,
yeah.
or we'd split the fries or whatever. And he'd eat it and I'd watch him and go, I'm waiting. I'm just, I would remember waiting to see him go, I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you feel? And he goes, you're right. He goes, I'm fine.
Well,
I
my
said,
big
now
mental.
he goes, you're right. If I had the burger here, I probably would have ate it
Well,
and
yeah, because
felt
that
like
my
shit.
my head goes, oh, I could finish that. It's
Yeah.
like I can handle that, or I can,
Yeah.
not that it's a challenge, but there's this thing about, well, I don't want to put it back. It's out on the table now, but if it's not there, it's
Right.
not there. And I'm
Not.
not going to go up and cook something else. But and also too, all of my traditional Italian friends, and their older parents, um, they always had fruit on the table.
Yeah.
Always,
Yes.
always fresh fruit. It was always there. And I always go, why is there bananas and
Hmm.
apples, pears, and all that kind of stuff? And I'm going grapes, and I'm kind of like, and then
Yep.
I would see them pick.
Yeah.
you know, you get the knife out and they'd start to, carve up the,
Yep.
and then
We've
sometimes
done
they,
that for years too. We've done it for like when I have company, and if,
yeah,
I had it a long time ago. Even his mom, my mother, we all, and that's how I grew up, and always had fruit. Now, if I had bought cake, and if somebody brought me cake, and we had a variety, but there's fruit always on the table. So cut up some pineapple, cut up some
right.
strawberries, whatever, and believe it or not, it never went to waste.
And the other thing,
Never.
I remember my Nana, my grandmother, she always had a basket of nuts.
Yeah, yeah,
Also on the table, there was always nuts in the
yeah,
nutcracker, and I still have the old-fashioned nutcracker, you
yeah.
know. A friend of mine came over and he goes, "What the hell's this?" You know, right, right.
Because
It looks
he
like
loves
something
picking
yeah,
on that.
looks like someone you would torture somebody in a movie. Come here,
Yeah, I
Here,
grab his balls. I hold
put your
this for his penis. I
put your
yeah,
nose in this,
yeah, fucking thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
Barbie, do you have the little pick, the little metal? My Nana had a little. It looked like a fucking. Uh, it was for digging out the nuts, out
oh,
of the shell.
yes, it had an odd
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
rock
Hook
shape
on the
to it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes. Yep.
And my friends are
Old
like, "What the
fashioned.
hell is this?" Come here, I'll show you.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And they also used to do that with crab.
Yes.
They would use that for the crab, then they'd use the little pick
Right. To
thing.
just take out the legs, the meat inside
Yeah,
the
right.
shell. Yep.
And I remember saying to my grandmother one time, I said, "Why do you buy crab?" I said, "It's work." You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just it's exhausting. She goes, "But that's the point. You're not supposed to fill up like it's a steak. You sit
Right.
there, you talk, you pick, and you eat." And I
Right.
was like,
And the
"Talk,
longer it takes you, and that's the truth too, that they
right,
tell you when you're trying to eat better, or for people that need to eat better for their digestion, you eat too fast, that's not good. You're only going to get bloated faster. You're supposed to count in between. Nobody's going to count, but
right,
after a bite, you're supposed to chew for a while.
right, yeah, yeah."
And then, and they tell you not to drink anything either, like until a half an hour before your meal or a half an hour after your meal. Because
Interesting.
as you're drinking the liquids, it's not fully breaking down, and then the food's
Yeah,
gonna. So that, and a lot of people don't. Like I never did. I always drink a little bit as I'm eating, and that's
yeah.
really why we're bloated, we're full, we're fucking, but we're still eating. So it's
Yeah,
just
but
it's
I enjoy I enjoy drinking like so you know me, I drink wine a lot. I enjoy having that with the meal though. I
right.
wouldn't, I just
Me too. And
um
there's nothing wrong with it, but they tell you to wait until you finish with your meal, then you could have your drink and enjoy
yeah,
it. It's just there's
yeah.
all proper ways, and but we
You
we
know,
grow up differently, and
another thing too, again, this is my parents were, divorced all my life, but my father, another thing that he used to like, I was told this when they were married. My parents were married for, my God, how long were they married? 7 years,
mm,
8 years. And my mom, traditional housewife, worked a full-time job as a nurse, but she always cooked meals.
mm.
And I have her, I found a stack, I tell you, a stack of her letters that she wrote home you know, to my grandmother. And she'd write these letters at the kitchen table after working a full shift at the hospital, coming home, serving dinner,
Mm,
baking pies.
hmm.
This is the 50s, right? Baking pies, cleaning up, doing everything, doing laundry, and then at night she sat down at the table before like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, writing a letter to her mother.
Yeah, see?
I'm like, my God, And my father always liked pie, so my mother baked him pies, you
Yeah.
know. Um, which I'm not. I like pie. I'm really a. It's one of the things I enjoy when it comes to something for like after dinner instead of cake. You know what I mean? But I realize that I drink my sweets now for the most
Mm,
part, so
hmm.
I don't have a craving for pie as much. And I find that if I'm enjoying the food so much, I'd rather have more food
Right.
than having a slice of pie. You know, um, but yeah, that was I just always remember that father. Salad. I remember him telling me too. You know what the secret of a good salad is? And I'm like, the secret of a good salad? I'm like, he goes, rinsing, rinsing the salad. And I'm like, rinsing the salad? You take it out of the bag, you put it on the plate, that's salad. He goes, no, no, because he had the spinner,
Hmm.
and I didn't, I know, I said, what the hell are you doing? He's putting these, and I'm like,
One thing I do not own.
a spinner.
Well, there's a lot of things I don't own, but I don't have a spinner. And
Okay.
I eat salad often. It's funny, right? I we never grew up. I don't know. We never grew up on that. We always washed the fucking thing by hand, shook it
You,
out,
you should go down and just, yeah, right.
rinsed it out, and then started breaking it apart. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
And
It's funny, it
somebody
seems,
just recently told me that. They were like, "Oh, this is like the third salad spinner." I was like, "Oh," because they return at my job, and I'm like, "This is a nice one." Yeah, we thought so, but it broke. But this is the third time. I said, "Oh, then why go?" She goes, "No, we decided to go with a different company. It's not normal for something to always, for the third time, to be
yeah,
wrong with the
right.
product." So they went with something else. I just seen her recently. I said, "How's the salad spinner?" She goes, "The best, the best." I said, "Oh, see," I said it was
Yeah, yeah.
because sometimes you just got
Wow.
to change.
You know
Yeah.
what's weird too? This is so interesting. So many memories are coming to mind. Interesting, we're talking about this. My nana used to put a little salt
Hmm.
on the iceberg lettuce, and I've never seen anybody ever do that. Just a little bit of salt, and I was like, "Why did you do that?" Yeah, I'd put salt on the tomatoes if
Hmm.
they were in the salad. But even if there was no tomatoes or like salt on a cucumber, just took a little salt, just lightly sprinkled on the iceberg lettuce, and it was
You have
interesting.
to because it's very plain. There's no taste at all.
Huh. Yeah,
You
it's just
need
basically water, right?
flavor.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you need flavor.
I've never seen anybody ever do that like in that way, for that. But and oh, just got our alert. It says shut the up. So there's that. Um, wow. Now I'm thinking about salad.
Yeah, I thought I'll be making that in a little while.
But I have to say, whether I've gone in a different direction, in my journey, my favorite is arugula,
Yeah, right.
as you know, and I've never had that. I didn't know what that was as a kid.
It's bitter, but it's arugula is very good with salads, with
Mm,
mixed vegetables
yeah,
or sandwiches,
yeah,
or even in an Italian cooked meal, which I love when I go to a restaurant.
yeah, yeah,
Put a bed of arugula. They
yeah,
do a fried or a baked chicken cutlet or a
yeah,
grill.
right,
Huge, like they butterfly it open, and that
yeah,
lays right on top of the arugula
yeah.
with red onion and a little tomato, and then they'll do like a little bit, nothing heavy, and it's
Right.
fucking
It's
delicious.
great.
It
It's
it
great.
just balances, all those things balance out, and that's like the healthier meal. But I
It's like
love,
that. And when I discovered that, you're right. It's excellent. You mentioned that, and also when I discovered broccoli rabe.
yeah, yeah. And people you gotta know how to make that. Yeah, you really gotta know how to blanch
Oh,
that
garlic and
out.
oil.
Yeah, but it's still the broccoli rabe has to be made properly in order for it to have. Broccoli rabe is very, very bitter, like
Better,
so
like
bitter that if you go to eat it, you can't. You can't really eat it because it's everybody likes that bitter flavor, but if you don't cook it properly,
yeah.
and
No,
but
it's
when
true.
it's
You're
in
right.
garlic
You're
and
right.
oil, it's delicious.
I put
Over
I put a little.
sandwiches.
I put crushed red pepper on it too.
Yes. Well,
Give it a little.
that's how I saute it
Yeah.
with crushed
Yeah.
red pepper, garlic, and oil. You
Yeah. A
have
little
to
kick. Little
just to
kick.
give it a good kick, and
Yeah.
then that actually goes great. I mean, I know you're not a meat person, but that actually goes great on sandwiches.
Yeah. Right.
Slap that. Now you eat the meatless meat,
Yeah.
like when you make your sandwiches.
Right.
That on a nice baguette or a
Yeah.
nice good Italian bread with the hard crust on the outside,
Yeah.
with warm broccoli top sauteed,
Oh,
and
that was.
some vegan cheese and
Yeah.
tomato, And a
Yeah.
little balsamic vinaigrette. Oh my God, now you have a sandwich. Yes,
All
I
right,
know.
we're gonna break for lunch now. But
Yeah,
this is a good place to stop, and we'll come back in a bit.
yep,
So
absolutely.
stay tuned, guys. Thanks for chatting. Do you like salad? What kind of salads do you like? Do you like arugula like me, or are you more of a, you know, romaine kind of person, or is it just iceberg? Or mixed greens, spring mix, whatever. Oh, my commercial. All right, we will talk again.
Thanks for listening, guys. Till next time.
All right.